Hey, everybody, welcome. Welcome aboard. See if this works. Uh, so 3i Atlas is still approaching, and I'm putting my wager down just in the, casino of public opinion. I think it's just a comet. I think it's just a huge, exotic, interstellar comet. And I appreciate what some astronomers and some big podcasters are trying to do in provoking a discussion and saying, hey, it resembles no other comet we've ever witnessed. But we don't get interstellar objects that often. This is only the third that has ever been recorded since they've started tracking this stuff, which is why it has the designation 3I, third interstellar object. There was also Borisov and Oumuamua. Those were the other two. So in the history of humans using technology to watch for interstellar objects, which admittedly is not over thousands of years, it's just over, a number of years recently, only the third object. And I don't want to call out people who know 1,000 times more about astronomy than I do. It's just now that I've looked at the latest data, it's pretty clear it's not a spaceship to me. It's clear it's not technology. Because if you've lost 13% of your mass or whatever it's currently ejecting, that's a very inefficient spaceship, almost impossibly inefficient, right? We would assume something more advanced than us that can do interstellar travel. Is it a minimum using something like nuclear fusion? Because we could just about do that in 10 or 15 years or less. In which case, there's not going to be some huge loss of mass if you have a continuous power source. I mean, presumably an advanced alien race is not lighting some solid motor rocket in deep space and just burning through it like a Chinese, fireworks or something. So it doesn't make any sense. What actually makes sense is that it's just a completely massive comet-type object that is now starting to warm up and melt and give off gas and stuff as it approaches our sun. From the deep, cold reaches of interstellar space. It's ripping by. It's not staying here based on what I've seen, the trajectory. It's just ripping through, and as it gets closer, it's going to heat up like a snow cone and give off some stuff and then keep going. But totally not at all consistent with any kind of spaceship. So again, I appreciate the thought experiments that some very smart astronomers are spinning up. Like it looks different from everything else. Yeah, you can play that probability game with people because there are only 3 objects to choose from. How can you say it's so different from everything else when this is only the third one? After we've seen 100 of them, we can say if it's so different from everything else. Maybe this is what interstellar objects just look like. Maybe they're just huge and weird. But again, whatever it is, I would say 95% chance, just my own view, not alien technology. And the problem with the people who cry wolf on this one is that then people won't be excited when the real thing comes along. People will just go, oh, it's more nonsense, more thought experiments from professors and podcasters and stuff, designed to titillate and designed to make us think, well, what if? But really, again, when you got 3 weird objects and one of them is weird, that tells you absolutely nothing because all 3 of them are actually weird. All 3 of those interstellar objects are actually complete outliers in terms of velocity and stuff, where they came from and composition. So you don't yet have enough data to say if it's really that strange or not. Again, maybe that's just what traverses interstellar space is really huge, weird comet type stuff. So we don't need the traffic of the people posting these videos where they do the close encounters of the fourth kind thing, and they make it seem like it's going to be some alien mothership. It so isn't. The great miracle of this year, or nightmare, depending on your point of reference, is AI. AI, not aliens coming in a mothership. And the rise in real UAP sightings, especially on the US coast, rise in UAP sightings on the coast and near nuclear facilities. That's something real you can focus on. I don't know what it is, but people are posting video that doesn't all seem to be doctored. So there's something real there, but it's not an alien mothership giving us months' notice. Like, come on, folks. I wish it were. It'd be fun. I wish it were. And again, this is in a sense bad at this point because instead of leveling with people and saying, look, 95% chance, it's just a fat comet and it'll keep going and it's going to do nothing. Instead, they're like, well, it deviated very slightly. That mostly means that your predictions were wrong, right? That's predictive error, in my opinion. It's not actually a spaceship that very minimally changed course. It's just your initial predictions are a little bit off. And that's what's happening, if I had to guess. Because you would see a real deviation. If it were headed toward Earth, we would know at this point, is my opinion. And again, you don't lose 13% of your mass just firing your propulsion. It doesn't make any sense. Unless it's just a melting snow cone of exotic ice, and ice and material from interstellar space, which I think is totally what it is. And the AIs have helped me reach this conclusion, right? Running a lot of this stuff through the different AI systems has helped me reach this conclusion. And it's a sobering one. But again, we're not doing anybody any favors by treating this like it's War of the Worlds, and then it turns out to be nothing. And then our defenses will be down in the future if something truly weird does come into our solar system. This is a wake-up call that we really don't know what we're doing. And in another area, thank God that AI is not at all what the detractors said it was going to be. Not Skynet, not the Borg from Star Trek, no mind control, not the Matrix, not being put into some vat to be energy harvested by the large language models. They got everything wrong at every point. And now the people who said this was not possible are the people on the tech panels. It's so weird to me that the people who said that Sam Altman and the people also at Google would never be able to pull off what they've pulled off. How are these people the fucking experts then? Get them off the stage. It would be like a crypto conference where every single person is a Peter Schiff. It's one thing to have one, critic there for balance, but every single person said that AI would not be possible in our lifetime. So these are the people you're leaning on to tell you what's next. Why aren't they interviewing the people who actually invented this thing, right? The people at OpenAI and the people at Google DeepMind, who actually, for all intents and purposes, invented this stuff. Not academics from 50 years ago who told us this was going to be Skynet, and they got it so wrong. And the so-called job losses, I think you are going to see job losses because this can do what an entry-level person can do. But is that a bad thing? If you're trading a $50,000 a year cubicle slave job, where you really have no autonomy and no future, you're just a placeholder until they find somebody else they can give the same amount of money to because they don't want to give you equity and they don't want to give you a raise. You're just literally a human placeholder for a corporation. So if you traded that for instead, you get an Einstein level mind that you can load on your computer in your house or apartment, and you can talk to it anytime. There's no limit to how much interaction you can do with it. You can ask it, hey, improve my trades, or hey, look at my small business and see how I can improve the last couple of ad campaigns. And you don't have a Microsoft paperclip looking at your stuff. You've got a near Einstein or Robert Oppenheimer level mind loaded onto your hard drive, and it costs you nothing because the billions of dollars of pre-training costs out in some fucking data center somewhere, that's all in a sense subsidized. And now you, as the person who's angry because you don't have an office cubicle job, you do have access to something that's beyond a Star Trek level commander data, beyond Mother from the Ridley Scott alien movies, the onboard computer. It's super smart. It's literally beyond that point, just the hardware hasn't caught up. Super goofy that I'm talking to like a near god on a computer that looks like a gaming desktop. Looks like a high-end gaming desktop, and yet it's a level of analysis that it's really only matched by GPT Cloud and Google Gemini, and we have it just as a startup, and soon everybody will have these. So is that a loss? You lose your shitty office job. You can do literally anything else. You can do something creative. You can find one of the jobs that machines can't replace. People always want to be served drinks by other people. People are probably always going to want to buy real estate from other humans. I mean, sales doesn't go away completely. Certainly medicine doesn't go away completely. And the law, ultimately the judges are human. Until we completely redo the Constitution or something, the judges are always going to be human. And, they might ask various AI systems for feedback. That's already happening, actually. Some federal judges using AI systems to analyze stuff. That's just the second opinion, though. It still relies on the human source of authority. So my point is, all the jobs aren't going away, and the shitty lower level jobs that indeed will be replaced by a large language model. Who are you to complain? You know, what do they say in the Odyssey? Like, we play with the gifts the gods give us. Again, this multi-billion-dollar brain is just distilled. You get to download it for free in minutes, like it's a fucking Napster download. You can ask it anything all day long. It could help unlock the next billion-dollar business just for you, and you have the nerve to complain rather than adapt just a little bit. This is just like crypto, but 1,000 times bigger. Crypto, you could ignore it because fiat currency survived. It wasn't a big enough movement. It didn't knock out the banks. It didn't knock out the dollar. It didn't have the groundswell that so many people said it would have. It made its mark. It's a big deal. It didn't have the groundswell. This absolutely will. To say OpenAI has peaked when they're worth $500 billion. If they've really achieved what some people claim, what is $500 billion? What is $10 trillion? How much would society pay to have an always-on planetary mind that's not malicious, in fact, is, you know, forward-focused, and that is at the level of an Albert Einstein or an Oppenheimer or one of these types of people? I mean, absolutely incredible. And people again are worried about these sad job, you know, displacements that are happening. Try to find a better job. Try to create a job where you're collaborating with these systems. This has never existed before. This distillation of free intelligence has never existed before. It's actually completely insane. Somebody says it'll completely decentralize Hollywood. Tiny studios of a couple people can make full-length movies. I completely believe that. I think it decentralizes both movie making and media. You don't really need journalists anymore. You just feed something into an AI you trust. Hey, is this true? As people already do on Grok, right? On X with Grok. Is this true, Grok? You don't even have to think for yourself anymore. Of course you should. The point is the role of the journalist, some biased, partisan gatekeeper telling you if something is true or fake. No, a smart system is going to decide that in milliseconds and give you a balanced response. And if you don't like that response, you can shop around and ask a bunch of other AI systems. We're not moving toward a mono mind. The people who think we're moving toward the Borg are just completely wrong, as they've been wrong at every single step of this whole thing. Again, I don't understand why the media and why these tech panels are bowing to the people who said this would never exist. It's like people saying that flight would never exist, and then the Wright brothers come out. Are you going to book them as the aviation experts for the next century? We're going to defer to the people who said that flight was not possible. They're now the people who tell us how to design airplanes. It makes no sense, right? Anyway, I'll leave things here unless there are any other comments from folks. But no, the company has come a long way finally, and it's been a little frustrating to be building stuff and not be able to talk about it. But now we can. Now we can talk about it. So local AI spin-ups, and then getting these local AIs to talk to each other, because we found that when they talk to each other, their power actually multiplies. Compare a child that's raised in solitary confinement. It's going to be a very limited child when it grows up, if not completely, you know, sociopathic. That's like a Bane type origin story. So the child raised completely alone behind bars versus the child raised by other people in the community. Of course, here these are AIs. But the point is, when an AI is kind of coming of age, when it's networked, we see that they get a lot more intelligent than when they're just sitting there by themselves with no outside correction, no outside feedback loop to tell them when they're off base or when they're right on point. They don't have that. So I'll leave this one here unless there are any other comments. Somebody was asking for demos and stuff. We have put up some short videos. If you go to the vertical or short section, done some videos showing off the hardware. This stuff almost anybody can do, which is why we put out the e-booklet. You don't even need to know how to code. You don't really need to know anything. You need to know how to turn on a computer and download very basic software. If you could install AOL 20 years ago, you can install local AI. Pretty crazy. And what does this mean for the future of, some people have said, like, if this is all that good, doesn't that mean that NVIDIA and the data centers will go out of business? I don't think there's any overnight shift from data centers to local AI. I think both will coexist. But yeah, long term, it's like NVIDIA will not be king, in my opinion, if there are new chips that come out down the road. But for now, they're still the best. And certainly our systems use NVIDIA. So thank you guys.